Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of The Woman Behind the Brand with yours truly, Coach Dorcas. As the founder and CEO of Dorcas Pittman International LLC and the visionary and creator of The Woman Behind the Brand, I want to welcome you. I want to introduce myself. I am a certified trauma transformation coach, and I help women who have been silenced by trauma remove the mask and authentically show up as who God called them to be by reclaiming their voice and repurposing their pain so that they can live a God inspired and purpose driven life. How does that correlate with the woman behind the brand? Because I believe that we are our testimonies, that it is our testimonies that inspire people to go forward, to dream big, to win, that no matter what they've gone through, no matter what traumatic experiences they've had, that it doesn't disqualify them for their purpose. And this platform highlights amazing women, amazing female entrepreneurs who are impacting the lives of others by sharing their stories and building brands that are really impacting the kingdom of God. So today I get the honor and the privilege of sitting down and chatting with my big sister, my Brooklyn sister, Donna Perry, the Curvy Confidence Coach herself. Donna, I am going to toss it over to you so that you can introduce yourself to our viewers.
Hey y'all! First of all, first things first, Brooklyn. Okay. I just had to get that. Yeah. Hey everybody, my name is Donna Perry, and I'm your courageously curvy confidence coach and weight no more champion. Yes. I help women of all curves and dress sizes to break free of those physical and mental weights of your past so that you can shatter those myths and live the full life that God has destined and designed for you. I do that through an awesome room that I have on Clubhouse as well as on IG in my IG space, and soon to be my new Facebook community. And I'm super excited to just kind of sit down and talk with my baby sis. She's really not my baby sis anymore because the way that she kind of like encourages me and inspires me, I don't know about this baby sis thing, but I'm super excited to be here with the trauma transformationalist herself, the one and only Dorcas Pittman. I'm ready to get into it, girl. You ready?
Yes, I am. And
All right,
look,
let's go.
I am your little sister. You have pushed me. Uh, God knew I needed the Brooklyn in my life. Being from the South, born and raised in Alabama, so God knew I needed that Brooklyn sister in my life. So thank you for joining me today, and I'm
My
just looking
pleasure.
forward. This is not an interview. I don't interview any of my guests. It's just a conversation. I don't give any pre questions. We sit down, we
Oh,
talk,
no.
and we just allow, we just allow God to be God and let God to lead the conversation because He knows what needs to be said, when it needs to be said, for who it needs to be said for. So just so y'all know, I don't send questions ahead of time, and yeah, that bothers some people. But hey, it's okay. God
I'm
knows.
good. I'm good.
Yeah, you good. And all of my guests have been good. They're nervous at first, but then when you think about it, this platform is all about our viewers getting to know the essence of the woman behind the brand. And so when you don't know what questions are going to be asked or how the conversation is going to go, it really gives the viewers the opportunity to just really see your heart, really to really hear your heart and get those real, raw, and vulnerable answers. And so I was like, God, I need questions for these people. He was like, no, you don't. The only question that I have, and it's the question that I ask all of my guests, and they know that question ahead of time. When we first started the interview, you were listening to The Mirror by Layla Hathaway. And
Yes.
I ask all of my guests to give me a song that they listen to as their inspiration when they need that extra push to keep going. Because in the world of entrepreneurship, I mean, in life in general, we have those days, but when you're an entrepreneur, sometimes you have to encourage yourself and you need those, whether it's an inspirational quote or song or whatever it may be, to
Yes.
give you
Yes.
that push to keep going. And
Mm-hmm.
so the song we heard was Mirror by Layla Hathaway. And so I'm going to ask you, like I asked everybody else, why that song?
Sure. So, why that song "Mirror" by Layla Hathaway? Um, Honestly, I'm so super proud of my husband. My husband actually inspired me to listen to that song. And "Mirror" by Layla Hathaway comes from a very important and special place in my life, as an entrepreneur and as a curvy confidence coach, because a lot of times, especially among curvy women, one of the biggest struggles that we have is looking at ourselves square in the mirror. Like the mirror, like, or like the whole mirror. And so one of the activities that I actually give my clients, as well as young people that I mentor, is it's an exercise called Mirror Mirror. And so I was trying to look for something super duper meaningful, from with Mirror Mirror, right? Where I have them actually look at themselves in a mirror and talk to themselves, like, and affirm themselves. You ever had to affirm yourself for 5 minutes in a mirror? Most of the time when we look at a mirror, we look at a mirror and we look at it to make sure that it reveals to us any imperfections and flaws about ourselves that we need to fix, right? But what happens when the imperfection and the flaw about yourself that you need to fix is something that's not necessarily immediately fixable? Like, it's that thing that requires that you put some elbow grease into it, some major effort, some major work, right? And so oftentimes we escape the mirror. We escape the mirror. We escape the mirrors of our lives because it keeps us from having to look at ourselves in a very real way. And it's easier for us to become best friends with other people than it is for us to become best friends with ourselves and look at ourselves. So sometimes you got to make the mirror your best friend, will allow you to fall in love with you. Because here's the thing, and this is a word, this is the interview today. You could go from here, there, everywhere, Timbuktu, all the way down to Switzerland and come back again, right? But if you don't take a look at yourself and find peace with yourself, it doesn't matter how many people you interact with. It doesn't matter how many people love you. If you don't love you, none of that matters. None of
So
that
true.
matters. And so that's why that song is so super duper important to me.
Ah, so true. And that's the thing. We have, the word of God says, you're supposed to, look at yourself before you try to point out the speck in somebody
Right,
else's eye.
right, right, right.
You need to look, check out that thing, that plank or
Exactly.
whatever. And
Exactly.
so but we have an issue with that, because when we have to look in the mirror and really examine ourselves and really focus on ourselves, we have to acknowledge and accept
Mhm.
all of those things that we see.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's that self-evaluation, it's that self-awareness.
Yep.
And the thing about it is, we're the only people that are in control of us. So
Mhm.
whenever we look in the mirror and we have to see all that,
Yep.
whatever we see, we're the ones we are the ones that are in control of it. We either made it happen, it's how we see ourselves. And so it's that self-evaluation, it's that self-awareness, it's that I don't know what else to call it, but it's that piece right there. Because it's easy to look at somebody else, it's easy to affirm somebody else, it's easy to even criticize somebody else. But when it comes to ourselves, we really have a challenge with that.
It's easy to forgive somebody else.
Oh yeah.
It's much easier to forgive somebody else than it is to forgive yourself. And I love the segue into it because you and I had talked about this a couple of weeks ago about having a more intentional prayer life,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so what I've learned in my journey of being adopted, because there's a difference between being an orphan in the body of Christ and being adopted. And what I've learned in terms of being adopted into the family of God is that In order for me to really have a clear mind and clarity to allow God to speak to me in a place that I will be able to listen, I have to have a spirit of forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bible talks about that. The Bible talks about that in the book of John. It talks about going to God with a contrite heart, with a forgiving heart, right? But here's the thing, what if the person that you need to forgive is you? Nobody really talks about the fact that we often owe ourselves an apology.
Oh yeah, we can be very reckless with ourselves at
Right.
times.
Right. Like very reckless, very mentally and emotionally abusive, very financially abusive, very physically abusive to ourselves. And that's why it's so easy for us to allow people to step to us incorrectly.
Mm.
Right. And so yeah, it's really that thing. It's really the idea, the practice of being your best friend. And it's not a
And that
cocky thing.
Oh no. And that's the thing, these past 3 years or so, I've literally transformed from that caterpillar to the butterfly. Like,
Right.
I am one of the rarest butterflies you'll ever see. That is me loving on me.
Mhm.
And oftentimes people think it as being cocky and being, I don't know whatever it is,
It don't
but I
even
tell
matter what they call it, honey.
it doesn't, because I tell people, I say, yes, I'm all that in a bag. No, I'm all that in one of those 48 packs of potato
I
chips.
don't even
Like,
have to say it.
and you have to exude that confidence. And that's the thing about it, is like, you know, I'm okay with saying I'm all that. Because if I don't believe it, how can I expect somebody else to believe it? And there's a difference between being that is you have to be confident in who you are in Christ. That's the confidence I'm talking about. Because when you're confident in who God created you to be, like, that confidence come across in every area of your life, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally. And so you really have to sit down with that thing. You really have to sit down and really study and understand who you are in Christ, because that's the foundation of our confidence, whether you're a size 0, whether you're a size 32, whether you are 100 pounds, whether you are 600 pounds. It is that confidence in knowing who you are, because when you know who you are, you know what you have the power to do, and you know what you're capable of.
That's it.
So no matter what challenges come your way, no, whether it is to lose 300 pounds, you understand that you have the power and authority to take dominion and speak to those poor choices, and really do what you need to do to become healthier.
Right. And the thing is that, and I want to make sure that that our listeners, that your listeners are clear, right? Um if you are healthy and confident with who you are at full 500-600 pounds, God's grace and peace go with you. Claim the day and be who God has called you to be, even in that space. But if you are not confident from a perspective of health, not from a perspective of what you look like, you have to know that health has nothing to do with your waistline. Health is everything about um your blood. Health is everything about your quality of life, right? It's about your mental quality of life. It's about your physical quality of life. It's about your ability to be able to live the life and enjoy the life that God has called you to live. The reality of it is this, if I could be transparent, my highest weight was 398 pounds. Easy. 398 pounds. And that was a little over, I want to say about 12 years ago. I had gastric bypass surgery. Now, I was pretty cool with who I was as a person. I was actually cooler with who I was as a person at 398 because I was used to that Donna, right? And it took me a while to get used to the Donna of today. And but the reality though was that I couldn't have children. I found out that I had like a special type of sleep apnea where basically I would stop breathing. I wasn't even snoring. Sis was just not breathing in her sleep. So I was a perfect candidate for one of those people that you would wake up next to and they say that they died in their sleep. That was me. I just had a whole bunch of other health complications. Bad back pain. I mean, now that's with age. But I had a whole lot of other. I had fatty deposits in my liver. Well, Lord, you only get one liver, right? All sorts of things, right, that were going on with me internally, not being able to walk up a flight of stairs, like, just all sorts of things. And I remember the pivoting point for me, and I don't even know how this is going there, but okay, God, I remember the turning point for me was when I went to my doctor and I was like, so I was reading up about you helping with fertility because I suffer from PCOS, which is a infertility condition. And I said, I want help. I newly married, what woman doesn't want to have children, right? I said, I really want help with getting pregnant. And my doctor was like, absolutely not. He's like, I can help you, but I'm not helping you at 398 pounds. Like, I'm just so not. Because the average woman, no matter how big or small you are, gains about 35, 40 pounds in a pregnancy. And with your inability to balance life and motherhood, at least the first year, you don't lose that 40, 50 pounds. And then like here you are, year 2, year 3 in, you got 40, 50 pounds, you got a baby, and now you're pregnant again, possibly. So I can help you, but I'm not helping you at 400 pounds when I know that 9 times out of 10 at the end of the pregnancy, you're going to be a good 445. And you're going to struggle to get it off because you're going to have to balance getting that off and taking care of the baby. How you going to run after a 2-year-old at 450 pounds? You're not. And so that wasn't my doctor. And I want to be clear, that wasn't my doctor saying that he didn't want me to be a mother. And that's not me saying that when you are 400 pounds, you don't have a right to be a mother. I'm not saying that at all. What it was saying was, and what he was saying to me was that I want you to be a mother at the best place in your life that you could possibly be so that you can enjoy motherhood and so that your child can enjoy you being a mother. And so for me, I made a personal decision to have gastric bypass surgery. I had gastric bypass surgery a year to the date, and I don't recommend this. You're supposed to wait 2 years, but a year to the date, I found myself pregnant with my first daughter, Anaya. And even then, that was still a difficult pregnancy because I was high risk, all of those things. But we thank God, here she is going on 11. And now I have another daughter, Ava, going on, well, she's 8. Y'all pray for me. And so my 2 broke besties, y'all pray for me. But I say all of that to say that, those were decisions that I chose to make, right? But even in that, I struggled with how God saw me. I struggled with how I saw myself. I struggled because I remember losing like 180 pounds and then gaining about 30, 40 pounds back. And I had actually stopped coaching. I stopped mentoring because I was embarrassed. And I was afraid to really mention the highs and the lows, the ebbs and the flows of this journey being curvy, right? Because I had allowed myself to celebrate in the compliments of, hey, slim, hey, ooh, look at you, look at skinny, not realizing that those were phrases that were based off of society's view of what people wanted me to look like for them to be comfortable. And so when I stopped getting those phrases, right? When I stopped getting those, hey, slim, when I stopped getting that, and when I started to get, oh, you putting on a little weight there, that,
Yeah.
right? When I started to get that, I started to shrink again. And it took me 2 years ago to really realize, like, dude, are you seeing yourself the way other people see you? Or are you seeing yourself the way God sees you? Because
And
right? So yeah.
That's where the confidence comes from.
Right.
Your confidence comes from God. It is a muscle. It is a God muscle. I would say that your confidence should be rooted
Yep.
in God.
Yep. Yep.
Your confidence
Mm-hmm.
should be rooted
Mm-hmm.
in God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing about it. Our confidence shouldn't be rooted in what we wear, what size we are, all of those things. And of course, like Donna said, it's about we want to be healthy. We want to take care of the vessels that we only get one vessel.
One.
One. We only get one vessel. He gave us two, we get two sets of teeth, and after the second set, it's a wrap.
Baby.
You're gonna
After
have to go back.
that, you're gonna have to pay somebody for
You're
it.
gonna have to pay somebody for them. But we only get one vessel. And the confidence is in knowing that I have the ability to take care of my vessel. I have the ability to do everything that God has called me to do in this life. I have the ability to show up no matter what size I am and radiate confidence.
Right.
Radiate confidence. Because
And
that's what God wants us to do.
the interesting thing is that I love data. So you know, right. I'm a geek, y'all. I love to
That brain.
that. Don't do
That
that.
brain.
I feel judged about me and my
No
love
judgment. No
of
judgment.
data. I love data. I love
Mm.
information. Like, it's bad. I got about 50 books over here in the corner. I won't show y'all that I didn't read yet. Don't do that. Anyway, I digress. One of the things that I was reading up about, as it pertains to women and confidence, right, is that women who lack confidence in various areas of their life are often women who are actually the least paid in the workplace because they don't have the clarity and the confidence to advocate for themselves and ask for a raise. But then in another set of data, I learned that women of color, uh, or backtrack, women who are a certain body shape, curvy plus women, are often women of color, right? Who live in communities where there are food deserts, where is the ability to afford healthier food options is often lacking. It's not there, right? We all can we talk. We all know the real, right? And but oftentimes that unaffordability is because we don't make enough money. But we don't make enough money because we don't have enough confidence. But we don't have enough confidence because we allow somebody else to tell us that because of our size, we can't step up to the plate and advocate for ourselves. So it becomes a vicious cycle.
Cycle.
And the call to answer for me, the assignment for me is to break the cycle.
Breaking the cycle, breaking the generational curse. That is what it's about.
Yep.
We've been on this hamster wheel,
Right.
this never ending hamster wheel.
Right.
And the thing about it is, whenever you're breaking a cycle, especially a generational curse, especially the societal norm, it's going to make a whole lot of people uncomfortable.
It's going to disrupt
that part.
If you know.
And you have to be confident enough to stand and to stay in it.
And
Don't stay the course. Stay the course, follow through with a journey. Because somebody has to do it. Why not you?
Girl, you sometimes your big sis has struggled with why not you? It's
And the thing about
this,
there's no blueprint. There's no, oh my God.
Like nobody created a rule book, a rubric on how you do this.
Oh.
So you sketching, you erasing, it's no blueprint for this.
But that is why Maya Angelou had to do what she had to do. That's why Oprah had to do what she had to do. That's why Michelle Obama had to do what she had to do. That is why that's why Harriet Tubman had to do what she had to do. That
Tyler
is why
Perry. Yep.
Tyler Perry had to do what he had to do. That is why so many people had to do what they had to do. We used to say, why me? Why me? Why not you?
Why not? And when we look at, and it's so interesting that you talk about the story of Harriet Tubman, because what she went through on that journey alone, it was just her and God. And what she went through on that journey alone, right? So that she could turn around and lead others along the same trail. Where would we be?
And that's the thing about it. And when you say that, I think about this quote I saw. I don't know how many years ago, and I say it often. It said, "One day your story will be somebody else's survival guide."
Mhm.
That is the same as a testimony. That is what the woman behind the brand is. Because just like motherhood, there's no you can read 50 million books, but nothing in the world can prepare you
Nah,
to be a mother.
nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Because,
Nothing
honey,
but
I
nothing
just
but
wrote out my
experience.
little birth plan. I have my little birth plan on my paper, and I gave it to the people, and the lady looked at me. Okay, she probably threw that thing in the trash.
And it's yeah. And it's just like it said, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
only
I don't plan on having children anymore. Unless the Lord sends a little adopted
we
baby
gonna
from another
I was just
country.
about to say,
Yeah,
he gonna have to put one in, put a stork
yeah,
is
they
gonna have to
have
literally
them
bring it on
on
my
my
front porch.
doorstep. Yeah, but what I will say is that you know, I had a whole plan. I want an epidural at this many centimeters. Girl, bye. I didn't get no epidural. I dilated from 2 to 10 in less than 5 hours. My doctor didn't deliver the baby. It was a resident. The midwife didn't make it. My doctor was home watching a football game. He said he thought he had at least 20 hours. No plan. No, the plan. What plan? So yeah, it's really interesting, all of it. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
And that's the thing. And being here for it and understanding that why not you?
Yeah.
When
Why?
when God gives us an assignment, I when God sat at his desk, my daddy was sitting at his desk and he was drinking his coffee or his tea.
Hold on,
his
Frankie.
coffee his coffee or his tea, and he said, okay, today I am going to create the plan for Donna. Donna will be born this day. She'll be born to these parents. She'll be born this place. And he said, okay, this is the purpose of her life. This is what I'm creating her to do. This is the mantle that is on her life. Now, what is going to be required for her to accomplish this? What is going to be her path?
Hmm.
I don't think he said, well, why should I create her? Or why should I give her this? No. It was like, she can do this. I have confidence in the person that I created. I'm creating her. And because this is the plan that I have for her life, I am equipping her with everything that she needs to accomplish what I have placed in her belly.
And the interesting thing about that is, so many of us spend so much time um wallowing in the
Mm.
victimization of the thing,
Been there, done that.
that we never give ourselves the place and the space and the room to celebrate the fact that in order for you to be what God has called you to be, you have to go through what you're going through. God knew that the plan that He had for my life was to be able to empower, encourage, and impact the lives of plus curvy women. He knew that, right? The reason why he knew it was because I was a plus curvy woman. But not only was I a plus curvy woman, this dude had the nerve to turn around, okay, and give me two daughters that are curvy. And he knew that they needed me to be their mother so that they would have the tools to navigate in a world that has not set up adequate space for them. But he knew and he loved my children enough to know that he needed to create me so that they could be. And I think that a lot of times we spend so much time as opposed to us celebrating, right? I have a friend last week. She was like, "You just look to the world. You just look at the world through rose-colored glasses." I said, "No, I don't. I look at the world from a place of healing because I recognize the assignment,
Hmm.
and I recognize that in order for me to do what God has called me to do, right, I have to be healed. I have to be healed. I have to be healed from the fact that I was molested by my babysitter's son
That part.
at 6, from the age of 6 to about 5 to 7, around there. Yeah, that's a whole nother woman behind the brand story. I have to be healed, right? From the fact that I allowed my lack of confidence to get me hemmed up with a dude that meant me no good in the 9th grade, and I gave up my virginity in the
Hmm.
9th grade at 14 years old, not really knowing what I was doing. Going to church, singing in the choir, but because I could not get right answers, the answers that I needed to have, right?
That
I
part.
had to be healed from that. But I had to go through it so that I could equip myself, so that I could be armed with the stories, with what I've gone through. I had to forgive my father for the views that he had about curvy or plus women, for whatever the reason it was. And I learned that it had absolutely nothing to do with me, that whether he ever said sorry or not, I had to forgive my father in order for me to be loved and love my husband. I had to go through all of that stuff, right? I had to go through what I went through over the baby. I had to go through what I went through over the past 2 years, right? For me to find the mentor and the coach that I found, or that God found for me, so that I could even be here and meet you and even be in this place and space and find language to what he had been called. I had to close down an entire business that I just knew was going to make me millions of dollars selling clothes. Because in the business is where I realized that I was helping women get dressed physically, but they were not clothed in the right state of mind to even wear what I was putting out there for them to put on. We don't need no more shops. We don't need no more. Now I like a good dress. We don't need no more of that right now. We need some folk to heal from some things.
That part.
So it's all of that. It's all of the things. It's all of the things.
And that's the thing. I've told several people, I think about it as, when God place a purpose on your life, and like you said, you have to go through everything. I'm a back. God allows you to go through things. We give the enemy too much credit. He can't touch us unless he go to our daddy and said and daddy said, "Good, okay, you can touch her." We think about Job. He has to ask permission. But anyways, you know, we have to be mindful that God knew that we could handle that, and all of that would condition us for our purpose.
Yep.
It would condition us for our purpose. But the thing about it is, in order for him to use everything that we've gone through, everything that we've experienced, all the molestation, the rape, the addiction, all of those things, we had to heal. Because you can't go into your purpose and operate fully in your purpose bleeding on other people, because you would be triggered left and right.
Yep.
And when you're triggered, you go back to that place of that emotional space that you were in all those years when you were operating from a wounded place, when it first happened, when you first molested, when this mental space you were in, when you were addicted to whatever it was, when you were addicted to that coping mechanism. And so God is not going to position you to bleed on other people who are wounded, because they're coming to you for help. So you have to be in a place of wholeness and of have to be healed in order to fully operate in the fullest capacity of your purpose. Myself, as a trauma transformation coach, going through it, I didn't know that all that was required for me to operate fully as what I am today. But now I see the women who come to me, it's heavy. The trauma, especially the childhood trauma. Like I had to be healed and whole in order to help them heal their wounds. But I had to go through that process and be confident in the fact that God knew that I could do this. That is why he allowed me to go through every single thing that I went through, and allowed me and positioned me to start my healing journey at the time that he destined for me to start it. Because I had to go through all of that first in order to be where I am. And you, Coach Donna, dubbed me the mic of transformation, because because I understand it is the power that is within your voice. That is where the real transformation happened. That is where the power comes from, because we know that when God wanted something to happen, what did he do? He spoke it.
Yeah.
That's why he says the power of life and death is in what? The tongue.
The tongue.
Watch what you say.
No cap, in the words of the no cap. Is that no cap? Yeah, no cap.
Yeah. So that's the thing. And the woman behind the brand, you hear our words, and you hear the testimonies of, the women who come on this platform, and, my story. And it gives you, it inspires others. It massages or works that confidence muscle to know that, dang, she's curvy. She has confidence. She understands who she is in Christ. Well, she hasn't always been confident. She was molested. She's dealt with that. She's had to forgive her daddy. And it's like, we are just like you. A part of us is attached to each other. Like, a part of me is Donna. A part of Donna is me. We are connected by our Father. But we won't know that unless we show up in spaces and places like this and share our testimonies, and let so many other women and people know that it's okay that you went through all of that. It's okay that you struggle with your confidence. It's okay that you were wounded.
And the other thing is that the healing journey is
never ending.
Nah. it's not. It's never ending. There's levels.
There's levels to it.
So, what I appreciate about the healing journey is that I can go through a level of healing today that will help you to get to that same level of healing, right? And then as I've elevated in who God has called me to be, recognize that I may need another level of healing in the same area, right? And then as I'm pulling you up from level 1 to level 2, now I'm on level 3 or level 4, and I can pull you up to level 3 or level 4. And you may even surpass me in one area or another, but that's because that's what God has for you. But the reality of it is that because I recognize that I have confidence and clarity in who He's called me to be, even if you surpass me, I know that there's still meaning, that there's still destiny for my life, right? And I don't have to compete with you. I don't have to compare with you, because my story is not your story. Your story is not my story. However, there's an intersectionality there of our stories being able to come together, not to collide, but for us to be able to come together and be able to do great work in the kingdom. There is intersectionality between what I do as a curvy confidence coach and what you do as a trauma transformation specialist. However, the reality of it is that I recognize that what God has me to say is equitably as important as what you have to say. Therefore, there's no competition. There's no competition. The problem is with so many of us is that we struggle to be what we have been called to be, what God has called us to be, because we're too busy worrying about what's going on with other people. And I call that white noise. You ever, like, back in the day, I'm probably telling all my age right now, where back in the day after a certain time of the night, right? All the broadcasts go off and you wake up in the middle of the night, if you kept your television on, and you wake up at like 2, 3 in the morning, you hear one or two things. You either see a snowy channel, like,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it would be like white noise, right? The most distracting and annoying noise ever, to the point where that noise would be so annoying you ain't have no choice but to turn off the television, right? And so what tends to happen with white noise is that it's very deafening, it's very distracting, it actually keeps you from your purpose. And a lot of times what happens is that when we allow ourselves to compare ourselves to what this person is doing or what that person is doing, it's called white noise. And you have to position yourself to be so deeply rooted in what God has for you that you have the ability to put on your spiritual earplugs and
Mm,
silence the white noise. Even if
mm.
it means you got to disconnect your social media for a minute, silence the white noise. Now, we depend on social media to connect with our audiences, right? But there's about to become a time in the next couple of days or so that I'm actually going to go on a social media fast. I don't know. God is like preparing me for it because I need to disconnect from the noise so that I can get refocused on what it is that He has to say. So I'm not just going on social media saying all sorts of
That
foolishness,
part.
right? I only go on to say what I got to say when God gives it to me to say. But so that I can be more consistent, I got to get rid of the noise though. So I could go from being addicted to being a consumer, yes, addicted to being a consumer, to now being a pourer. And I think
Mm,
that's what tends to happen with so many of us, especially in the curvy and plus curvy. We allow ourselves to be addicted to the small waist, big butt, flat stomach imagery. We allow ourselves to be addicted to the imagery of what somebody else said we supposed to look like. And it keeps us from being able to do the things that we need to do, both administratively as well as physically, right? To
mm.
be what God has called us to be.
Donna, and so and this whole conversation on confidence is so amazing. And God reminded me, I want to say in March, I think it was March. I can't remember. I think it was March or something. But I was very, I had my rooms on Clubhouse. I was showing up. God gave it to me, but He stopped it. There was nothing for me to pour. And at one point, I was trying to force it because I didn't want to lose momentum. I wanted to remain relevant. I wanted to keep my faith there. Okay, you see me. I'm showing up. You see me. But oftentimes, and God wants us to be confident enough to take a step back and hear from him, because when he tells you to take a step back, be confident enough to know that he's downloading a new plan.
Right.
He needs you to be, he needs you, like you said, quiet the white noise, take a step back. You're not disappear. It's not like you're never coming back, but God needs you to disconnect because he needs to download some stuff and download some things, and he needs you to be totally focused on that download. Think about okay, think about when you have an update on your phone or something like that, and if you don't have enough battery, if if you don't have enough battery, it won't download it. It won't download the update,
Or
and it
better
says,
yet, how you download your phone, especially if you got those people, because we're not giving nobody no money for saying no brands. When you
yeah,
go and you try to download that thing, and you trying to download it to like a new version of the thing, and that thing goes ahead and freezes your whole phone, and you take that phone into the people and they say, nah, sis, you gotta get a whole new phone.
yeah. And so God is saying,
That's the word right there.
yeah,
When the download causes a new thing.
when the download causes an ooh, and that was the thing. The download for me, I had to. He was like, no, I didn't have anything to pour for my
Mm-hmm.
Monday mindset shift. I didn't have to have anything to pour for my hour
Mm-hmm.
of hope or anything, any of those things, and God just stopped it
Mm-hmm.
because guess what? My download was something totally different.
I'm writing
That
that down.
my download was something totally different. And so he restructured my entire show up.
Mm-hmm.
He restructured how I show up in every single space. But I had to be confident enough. Was it uncomfortable? Yeah, because I'm new to,
Mm-hmm.
just getting my face out there. A new entrepreneur, and because I still got the Similac on my breath, as the old folks would say. But I know now that you have to be confident in God's plan.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be confident in God's plan to understand that sometimes he needs to like really shut a whole thing down in order to download and update.
It's much like an arrow, a bow and arrow. You got to be pulled all the way back and stretched, right? You got to pull that thing all the way back. And how far the arrow can go upon its release is
Mm.
predicated upon the upper body strength that you have. So pull, you ever used a bow and arrow? Baby, that thing requires all your
A
strength
whole bunch of muscle.
and a whole bunch of muscles that you didn't even know that you had, so that you could be pulled all the way back. You could pull that thing all the way back so that when you let it go,
The confidence to launch a thing. You have to show up with the confidence to know that you can launch whatever it is that God places on your life. You have to be confident enough to understand that the muscle that is needed for that pullback, God has already given it to you. Our confidence is not physical, it is all spiritual.
listen, I'm writing down a couple of things. I'm trying to figure out which one of us gonna go first in our little clubhouse rooms. I
We
got
go,
the muscle. Wait, the muscle for the stretch. Anyway.
no, look, we can't give it all away, but the thing about it is, you know, life and really operating in your purpose, on purpose, with purpose, it's all about confidence.
And it's about the stretch.
And it's about the
And
stretch.
if you don't have the if you don't build the muscle, the stronger the muscle, the greater the stretch.
My sister, you are the
Yo, you ain't asked me now one question. We just said
but the thing about it is, And that's why God, he's been telling me this is not an interview. This is a conversation. It is in the conversation that the true essence of that woman comes out because of it's the passion. It is your heart. It is your heart's posture. And it's in those conversations.
Right.
And that's my thing. There's some people God will give me questions to ask because he knows somebody may need to hear that. Where in some cases like this whole conversation with you, I asked you one question. It was about the song.
Right.
But the thing about it is God leads every episode. This is a God thing because he understands what needs to be said in each and every episode. Every time I sit down with somebody else, God knows what needs to be said. And he leads it. I give him the space to lead. This is not me. I'm just a vessel. But all of this space, that is his space to lead the conversation, whether it is just a conversation or whether it is a question format.
Mm-hmm.
But God takes the lead because I am confident in him and knowing that what needs to be done will be done.
I'm telling you that confidence in Christ is so it's it's the most cathartic and freeing thing ever.
Caw.
It was like, I mean, I would like, you know how you spend a lot of time watching a lot of people and you're just like, yo, and people talk about the light bulb,
That light bulb.
You're like, Dag, well, and I used to wonder, like, when am I gonna get the light bulb? Like, is this something that just like bing, like, right? And it's not. It's actually a process that you go through. And I remember what people would probably think is a light bulb moment was when one day in a space, the space, where I was just like, yo, I'm just afraid of disappointing God. I'm afraid that I'm not making God proud, right? And it was in that moment and my ability to be vulnerable enough. That's a whole nother the vulnerability
The
part.
confidence to be vulnerable.
Right.
Whew.
The confidence to be vulnerable. And I remember in my vulnerability of me being able to just simply say, like, I really believe that I've not made God proud. Right. That I learned in that moment, the freeing thing was that there was really nothing that I'd ever be able to do in my life to never make God proud. Like, short of cursing him, is nothing that I would ever be able to do in my life that does not make God proud, right? And everything that I do, even if it looks like I failed at the thing, he's still proud because I trusted him enough to do the thing. And
Mm.
I learned that there was a lesson that he wanted me to learn. I felt crazy about the fact that I left my job 5 years ago to start what I thought was going to be the bomb nonprofit. It still is. It's just not there yet. But to start Courageously Curvy, my business, where I thought that I was going to make millions of dollars because, I had this under my name and da 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 da. Yeah, right, sis. Wrong, wrong. And it took me closing down that portion of my business, right, to understand that I had to do that so
Mm.
that I could learn what the people that he really needed me to be connected to really, really needed. First of all, if we really going to keep it a buck, I had not prayed about my decision to get on a plane and go all the way to LA and buy thousands of dollars worth of clothes and bring them back to Brooklyn. I had not prayed about that thing. But what I love about God is his grace.
His grace is
Because,
sufficient.
because now that I know now what I did not know then, now that I know what it's like to build an audience, now that I know and I understand what people needed, I had to attempt to do the thing so that he could turn around and reveal to me what it really was that my community needed from me.
Our daddy is so
He's so awesome. He's like he's so dope. He's so awesome. And and he's the way he is strategic about
Everything.
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 Everything, like the way that he's strategic about even the idea of you having to allow a thing to die so that only he alone can resurrect it, because the reality of it is that only God can resurrect a dead thing. And the way that he does things, when he allows a thing to die, listen, the way that he does it, where you yourself have to die.
We're not gonna go there.
Okay. So
We're not.
anyway,
Look, that's another
when part
conversation.
two? When the after party? When the contact, girl?
Look, that is
Where's the
another
conference?
conversation.
Where's the summit? Oh,
Before we even go there, I do have a question that God gave me.
okay.
um as the Curvy confidence coach, and your confidence coach just so happen to have curves. That's point blank period. And it's because of your curves that your audience are women who have curves of all sizes and shapes. You give them the tools needed to show up confidently in their curves.
I gotta write that down, sis.
You don't. You'll be able to watch the replay. I'm just watch. But what is one piece of advice that you would give that beautiful, curvy woman who is being challenged with the confidence to show up the way God has called her to show up?
Um, the Bible says that being confident of this thing, that he that began a great work in you is faithful to perform it. And I stand on that. I stand on that scripture. I stand on that verse. I stand on it because I think that one of the biggest problems that we have is that we have learned that confidence is about self. And the reality of it is that confidence has nothing to do with self. It's all about Christ within self. Right. And so the biggest thing that I tell people, that I even have a shirt and it says confidence is my superpower. And the reason why I say that confidence is my superpower is because being confident of this thing, that he that began a great work within me, if God started the work within you, he's gonna finish it. And the reality of it is God is going to get what he needs to get out of you by hook or by crook. So I would say to any woman who is struggling with who she is and her curves, is to understand that you are not defined by the curves of your hips. You are not defined by your waistline. You are not defined by those things. That when God made you, the difference between you and your homegirl is that he just took a little bit more time with you. When he made you and he was in the factory and the potter, and he was putting you all together, right? And he looked at you first, he just realized, there's something missing from what I need her to do. And so he took his clay and he just put it a little bit more on your hips. He put a little bit more on your stomach. He put a little bit more on your legs because he needed you to have a little extra to carry what he gave to you to bring forth. And so when you look at yourself in the mirror, when you make the mirror your best friend, I want you to thank God for every curve, every roll, every cinnamon roll, every stretch mark, every direction, every part of it, because it is the fact that God took a little bit more time with you. And so because of that, because we know whose we are and with whom we belong, we know that the mirror can be our best friend, but also we know that it is through him and within him that we have our being. And that is the greatest superpower. So that's what I would leave. That's totally what I would leave. And my final thing, confidence is a muscle. And you already know with every muscle, you got to exercise it in order for it to flex.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. What great advice. So, as we wrap up, my sister Curvy confidence coach Donna Perry,
Yeah.
tell my viewers how they can connect with you, how they can work with you, all that good stuff.
So you can definitely connect with me. Definitely exclusively on Clubhouse through the Curvy Girl Unleashed Confidence Club, the number one club for faith-based with faith curves and confidence meet. I'm claiming that number one spot. So you can connect with me on Clubhouse. You can connect with me on Instagram. You can follow my link on social tap. My Instagram link is Curvy Coach Donna. You can also connect with me on Facebook, and I'm still working on my website. Still working on my website, but you could definitely connect with me in those on those platforms. And then I'm gonna let Coach Dorcas tell you how you can also connect with me in September.
Thank you, sister. And yes. So if you caught the pre-show earlier today on Instagram, with my other coach, my media coach, John Schultz, you probably have already heard that the Woman Behind the Brand Summit, which was originally supposed to be live here in Birmingham, Alabama, September 24th, it is now virtual. We were talking about the stretch. We're talking about trusting God and being confident in knowing that God has already worked things out for you. God knows what's best. And that's one thing I love about my father. The Woman Behind the Brand, it is a vision from God, every aspect of it. And it is virtual. It is virtual. It is going virtual because he understands that more people need to hear the voices of the panelists, of the women. More people need to experience this summit. And so the summit, it is going virtual. There was a price decrease in the tickets because there won't be any travel. Won't need a venue space. We have we prepared an amazing virtual summit, virtual experience for each and every one of you. So yes, Donna, she will be a part of this amazing summit. She is still the MC. She's still the MC from Brooklyn, from the state of Brooklyn,
Right,
along
because
with
Brooklyn is a state. Let them know.
along with the amazing panelists. Go to womanbehindthebrand.com and check out all of the summit panelists. Go ahead and purchase your ticket, purchase your exclusive summit t-shirt. I am the brand because we are our brands.
And
And
wear
so
it
wear
at the
it, yes.
virtual. Wear it.
Wear it to the summit. Wear it to the summit, and when you register for the summit, you'll also be able to download your social media banner where you can put your picture in, and it'll tell everyone that you are attending the Woman Behind the Brand Summit. It is still September 24th, but I'm just excited. I'm excited for
I am
this
too.
pivot. I'm excited for the stretching. I'm excited for what God is doing, and I know that so many other people will be impacted by
Yes.
this virtual experience. So thank you for joining me yet again for another episode of The Woman Behind the Brand, with your host, the visionary, myself, Coach Dorcas. Thank you, Coach Donna, for
Thank you for
embracing us
having
with your
me.
presence today. And
Anything
catch up.
you.
Catch me every Wednesday for the pre-show. It is on Instagram Live. With follow me at Coach_Dorcas P with my mentor and my coach John Schultz. Then you have the show every Wednesday, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and the after show where you can chat with my guests of the day. You can chat with them, ask them questions about the interview. That's at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time in the Hope in Her Club on Clubhouse. So thank you again for joining us for another episode. Hey, this is your favorite trauma transformation coach, Dorcas. Be blessed. And as always, you know how I do when I'm rolling out. Give yourself grace because you won't always get it right. The grace that God gives us when we don't get it right. I will see you next time. Be blessed. Bye.